The picnic is only my hypothesis, and not even a hypothesis really, but an impression. So-called xenologists try to justify interpretations that are much more respectable and flattering to human vanity. For example, that the visit hasn't happened yet, that the real visit is yet to come. Some higher intelligence came to Earth and left us containers with samples of their material culture. They expect us to study these samples and make a technological leap, enabling us to send back a signal indicating we're truly ready for contact. How's that? That's much better, said Noonan. I see that even among the scientists there are decent men. Or here's another one. The visit did take place, but it is by no means over. We're actually in contact as we speak. We just don't know it. The aliens are holed up in the zones and are carefully studying us, simultaneously preparing us for the time of cruel miracles.
Hi guys, it's Quinn here. Please hit the like button to help out this channel, and also please subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Check out our Patreon if you want to support this channel more.
While I was working on my video about Area X Absolution, I kept thinking about Roadside Picnic. Certain parts of the Absolution draft brought this book back to mind, especially the way both stories deal with strange locations that change the world around them and force people to move through uncertainty without real answers.
Going back through my notes made me realize how strong the connection feels, even though the two works are completely separate.
That was enough to make me pull the novel off the shelf again and take a closer look at what it actually does, and why the story has always felt unsettling. Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky was published in 1972. It is a book about what happens after aliens visit Earth and then leave before anyone knows they were here. No one sees the aliens come or go. The only thing that humans see is the result. Certain areas on the planet change in strange ways. The land becomes unstable, objects with unknown functions appear, and basic physical rules stop behaving normally. These areas are called zones. The book mainly focuses on the zone near the town of Harmont. People live right next to something dangerous and impossible to understand, and over time the zone becomes a part of their lives, whether they want it or not. The book opens up with the description of something called the Pillman Radiant, discovered by Dr. Pillman. It was his proposed explanation inside the book about how the visitation happened and why the zones are located the way they are. Dr. Pillman says the 6 visitation zones around the world line up in a straight pattern, almost like you could draw a path through all of them. This path is what he calls the Radiant. It suggests that the aliens did not target specific nations, resources, or populations. They simply passed over Earth along a straight route, stopped briefly in a few places, and left. The Radiant is basically Pillman's way of saying that the aliens' movement were simple and continuous, like a car driving along a road and stopping at random intervals. Humans only notice the stops. Humans do not see the larger route. The book mentions that immigrants, ordinary people who lived near the zones during the moment of the visit and later moved away, sometimes carried with them a strange, deadly influence that no one understood. When these people settle into new places, an abnormal pattern of disasters begin to cluster around them. Their clients, neighbors, and co-workers die in freak accidents. Fires, explosions multiply, and even large-scale natural disasters like tornadoes appear in regions where they have not occurred for centuries. The effect is invisible, unintentional, and inexplicable, a kind of extra-physical, extra-biological phenomenon that surrounds the immigrant for reasons no researcher can identify. The horror is that these individuals seem completely normal, yet the statistical evidence is undeniable. wherever immigrants go, catastrophe follows, and the severity of the disturbances increases in direct proportion to their numbers. The story mainly follows Redrick, a stalker from the town of Harmont. For years he has been sneaking into the zone to bring out alien objects and sell them. After a 6-month prison sentence for smuggling artifacts, he gets a job as a lab assistant at the International Institute of Extraterrestrial Cultures, which studies the zone. By the time the story begins, he has worked at the Institute for about 2 years, but he still sometimes goes into the zone illegally at night. The legal job helps keep him out of jail, yet it never fully replaces his life as a stalker. Red's boss and friend at the Institute, Kirill Panov, asks him to guide a legal expedition into the zone to recover a certain object. Red knows the zone well enough to spot hazards that others would not notice. He tests the ground with metal nuts tied to string, listens for changes in air pressure, checks how dust moves, and follows old paths that stalkers discovered by trial and error. Panov treats the trip like research. Red treats it like survival. Inside the zone, they see metallic threads, soft patches of dirt that burn skin, and air pockets that twist gravity. During the trip, Kirill accidentally brushes against a strange silver cobweb of the threads. Nothing happens immediately, but later he suddenly dies of a heart attack at home. Red is sure the zone caused it, and he feels guilt because of this. The name Panov was framed in black, and there was a note in small print. Dr. Kirill A. Panov, USSR, tragically perished while conducting an experiment in April 19th. Redrick tossed the magazine away, gulped down some burning hot coffee. Kirill's death is very shocking for Red, and it lingers for quite a long time. There is no real explanation for how exactly he died. The death of Kirill adds to Red's disillusionment. At the same time, Red's girlfriend is pregnant. People in Harmont talk constantly about mutations caused by contact with the zone, especially in children. Some children born after the visitation behave strangely or look unusual. No one agrees on what the zone actually does to a fetus, but everyone is afraid. Red wants to provide for his girlfriend, so he returns to stalking. He enters the zone again with another stalker named Burbridge. Burbridge has spent years inside the zone and knows enough to be overconfident. During this trip, he steps into a puddle of hell slime, which dissolves the bones in his leg almost instantly. Red drags him through the zone and sneaks past patrols to get him to a doctor, but his leg is ruined. His girlfriend gives birth to a daughter, whom they call Monkey. She looks nothing like an ordinary child, with huge black eyes and a face covered in silky golden fur, but she is active and endlessly talkative. As she grows older, she becomes more withdrawn and less human in her understanding, until her mother, Gutta, admits that Monkey almost does not understand anything anymore. Red and Gutta still treat her as their child, but they know that something is deeply wrong. Red continued to smuggle and sell artifacts because it was profitable, and black market buyers wanted everything they could get their hands on, including hell slime or witch's jelly. It's hinted that a lot of these items end up being used for military research. Governments and institutions are depending on these stalkers, while also society is attempting to imprison them. Legal expeditions rarely bring out useful items. The Institute wants the artifacts but cannot get them without the help of people like Red, so there's kind of a double standard. Some stalkers go to jail, others avoid punishment because officials need what they bring out. Red is eventually arrested and sent to prison, but before that, he makes a cell of hell slime that he realizes is going to be used for some type of great weapon, but it's the only way he can provide for his family. Red does complete his sentence and returns home to find that even stranger things are now happening in Harmont. The town's cemetery is near the zone, and as the zone's influence spreads across the cemetery at its edge, dead bodies begin to move again. They move slow and mindlessly and try to return to their homes. The pimply driver reeked of alcohol, and his eyes were red like a rabbit's. But he was extremely agitated and immediately started telling Redrick how a corpse from the cemetery showed up this morning on his street. He came to his old house, except This house had been boarded up for years. Everyone has left, the old lady, his widow, and his daughter with her husband and his grandkids. He passed away, the neighbors say, about 30 years ago, before the visit. And now, here you go. Hello. He's turned up. Richard Noonan is some kind of secret operative for a government agency, and his job shows how disorganized the official response to the zone has become. They try to control or prevent artifact circulation, limit smuggling, and run proper research, but almost nothing works as intended. Scientists guess constantly, officials debate funding, smugglers outmaneuver the police. Noonan in one scene meets with Dr. Pillman, who brings up the idea that the aliens did not interact with Earth at all. Pillman uses the idea of the Radiant, as we mentioned earlier, to argue against theories that claim the aliens intended anything meaningful. He says the locations are too random to show intent. The pattern only supports the idea that the aliens were traveling in a straight line, paused for reasons unknown, and then moved on, just as travelers stop somewhere out of convenience, not on purpose. The aliens likely stopped in those 6 places without caring about the specific areas. Pillman says the visitation was like a roadside picnic. This is where the title comes from, obviously. The alien travelers stopped, ate, left trash, and drove away. Humans are like animals, sniffing around the campsite afterwards. The objects in the zone may not have meaning. They may just be leftovers. The hazards may not exist to keep humans out. They may simply be the aftermath of alien equipment shut down or breaking apart. This idea matters because it strips the zone of any human-centered purpose. Humans want to believe that the artifacts are messages or tools, but Pillman suggests there is no message. This makes the zone scarier. If the aliens did not notice humanity, then the zone might not respond to human logic at all. Nothing inside is meant for people. Nothing in it is designed to be understood. The zone causes damage because people happen to be near it, not because anything inside it is trying to cause harm. Red eventually takes on one last job. There are rumors about a legendary object deep inside the zone called the Golden Sphere, or Golden Ball. According to the stalkers, the sphere can grant any wish. Burbridge, now crippled, gives Red a map. Red brings a younger partner named Arthur, Burbridge's son. The path is painful and slow because the zone has changed since Red last went inside. Some old paths are now gone, and new hazards have now appeared. Red guides Arthur by instinct and memory. He warns Arthur not to trust anything that looks normal. In the zone, calm areas can be deadly. Simple objects can kill. Air currents can change direction without warning. They move forward anyway because the possibility of finding the sphere is worth the risk. During the journey, they reach an area known as the Meat Grinder. The trap is invisible and destroys anything alive that moves through it. Red knows something has to take the grinder for another person to pass safely, because that is what older stalkers always said. Red wants to make a wish so that his daughter can be normal. So he is willing to sacrifice Arthur. So Arthur is the one who walks into the trap. As he goes forward, he starts shouting a wish for everyone to have happiness, for free, and for no one to be forgotten. A moment later, he is killed by the trap.
Happiness for everyone. Free. As much happiness as you want. Everyone gather round. Plenty for everyone. No one will be forgotten. Free. Happiness. Free. With that, he abruptly went quiet,
As if a huge hand had forcefully
shoved a gag into his mouth, and Redrick saw the transparent emptiness lurking in the shadow of the excavator bucket grab him, jerk him up into the air, and slowly with an effort twist him the way a housewife wrings out the laundry.
Red moves on alone. He reaches the golden sphere and sees that it does not glow or react. It looks like a dull, ordinary object lying in the dirt. After everything he has been through, he cannot come up with a clear, specific wish on his own. He feels like an animal and cannot explain what he really wants. In the end, he can only cling to Arthur's earlier words in his mind, wanting happiness for everyone, free, and no one to be forgotten. The book ends in that moment. it does not show whether or not the sphere responds, or whether or not it ever had any power in the first place. The science fiction aspects of this book are very interesting. The zone that appears because of this alien event, the objects inside that don't behave in ways that fit human knowledge. It's really interesting how none of the scientific attempts to understand any of this amount to anything. This kind of scientific dead end stays consistent across the entire book. The book is scary because it has that idea that the universe doesn't care about humans. The aliens are gone. The zone was not built for people. The objects inside it are not gifts. They are leftovers, hazards that kill without intent. Children are born changed. Corpses walk back home. The fear comes from not being able to negotiate with anything. You cannot reason with the zone. You cannot ask it to stop. You cannot predict it with certainty. I mentioned the Area X series in the beginning because both stories use a controlled zone full of unknown forces. Both show a place that changes people physically and mentally. Both treat the environment itself as something that does not care about human goals or explanations. None of these connections are one-to-one, but the influence, I think, is clear. Roadside Picnic is a classic book that I think everyone should read. Have you read Roadside Picnic, and what do you think about it? My video on the fourth book in the Area X series, Absolution, is coming out soon. Stay on the lookout for it.
Thanks so much for watching, guys, and even though some of you out there still don't believe it, this is actually my voice. It is not AI generated. It's coming from me. Peace out, guys.